LL Nation, what's good, man? Lucky Lefty Podcast. I'm Shaun Davis. It's been a crazy Friday. We thank you all, Notre Dame fans, for being patient with ourselves and Irish Breakdown. We had some things early in the day that happened to the Irish Breakdown and LL family. We had to make some adjustments, so I joined Brian Driscoll earlier for the mailbag. And then by the time we finished the mailbag, we had IB Sports Talk coming up with Sean Stiers and Vince D'Addario. So didn't make any sense for our originally scheduled time at that point to jump in and compete with those guys as they were doing their show. So now it's tough because Left is actually headed back home from meetings all day with his football team. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you about 30 minutes today, 30, 35 minutes and preview. I'll be going down, leaving. I'm just waiting for these storms to pass. All these tornado warnings we have in Chicago. Had a hailstorm hit probably about an hour ago, which was absolutely bananas. So just waiting for the rest of you guys to come on in. We know it's been an inconvenience. Got busy with some other stuff and making sure the basement wasn't flooding due to the storms and being domesticated, right? But just wanted to make sure that with all the adjustments made, that you were able not only to get Irish Breakdown, the mailbag, and then IB Sports Talk, but also Lucky Lefty Podcast. And if Malik can jump in when he gets home, he'll be able to do that. As always, we want you to connect with us on YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Go ahead, share, smash that like button for us. And then most of all, man, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Anytime we go live or anytime we drop a new video, you'll get the notification. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We are the home of the misguided passion. You already know we spin it different. It's for the Culture Friday, but today's show is entitled Passing the Time. Passing the Time. And we're going to take a listen. And I believe that Notre Dame media, they've done an incredible job of creating buzz and hype surrounding this team with the releases of highlights and other things that they've done since the beginning of practice. They did another one today. The quarterbacks met with the media along with quarterback coach Gino Giudugli. We will wait until tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to have a special 2-hour show. Okay. We're going to have 1 hour of the practice report. And more than likely, this will be after Irish Breakdown. Irish Breakdown will go live first, and I will be making my trip back to Chicago at that point in time. And by the time I arrive in Chicago, that show will be ending. Lucky Lefty will go live with our own practice report, and then we will talk about Gino Giudugli and the quarterbacks as they met the media on today and check out some of the things that they said. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about some of the things that were said by Sam Hartman today before we bring up the video on tomorrow. Today, you guys can go ahead and co-host with me. At some point, I'm going to put the link to the show in the chat. You guys can jump in. We do this from time to time. You guys can jump in with any comments or questions that you have about college football, Notre Dame, anything according to that, and we'll chop it up. It's for the Culture Friday, so all bets are off. We can talk about anything right here, home of the misguided passion, the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Okay? So we have some questions and comments loaded up when I jumped in. Let's see. Captain J. Cajun Iris. Sean, your socks took one from my strolls. Don't make that a habit. Hey, Lance Lynn on the bump tonight in about 30 minutes. I'm hoping we can sneak out of there with another one. A lot to be happy about, but there was a lot that looked just like last year for my White Sox, right? Couldn't get the job done against Valdez with men in scoring position, multiple opportunities to put points on the board and to get Dylan Cease a lead when he was absolutely dealing against that Astros lineup. Of course, the Astros without their leader and captain Jose Altuve, which is a huge, huge hole at the top of that lineup. So they're going to be a much better team down the road. But if we can face them now and take 2, I'll be happy with that, Cajun Irish, man. Success to you and your Stros this season. I am garbage, man. Said, get used to it. Sox are going to win the AL Central. Look, the White Sox, they were 80. What? Out of the top 7 players, only 2 of the players played over 100 games last year. Everyone else missed a ton of games, like 50, 60 games. So they should be a better team if they're healthy. I will say this. Kids like Romy Gonzalez, who had a hit last night. Then you bring Oscar Colas up, who also had a hit, had a pretty darn good at bat last night in the 9th inning off Presley as well, as he took him about almost 400 feet right back to the wall where Tucker caught the ball in the 9th inning. There's a lot of youth on the White Sox, and if they can add some of that depth and some of that punch at the bottom of that lineup, they were 81 and 81 when they actually played horrible. They played horrible baseball all season long and were able to go 500. So I expect the Guardians to come back to the pack just a little bit, with McKenzie being out early with their pitching. And I believe one of the pitchers starts out on the IL. So pitching is what the Guardians are all about. So if their pitching is not healthy, it's going to be a battle between the Guardians and the Sox. And both of them should be around the 85 and 90 win range. It should be exciting. We'll see the AL Central. I know you guys are getting ready. I was watching Virginia Tech and LSU for a moment. And, I expect Virginia Tech to win that game. And then we wait for the coup de grace, the big one, Iowa, South Carolina. It should be absolutely amazing. Larry, what's up? It's a big weekend down there in Houston. White Sox in town. You got the Final Four down there. And then Dallas is hosting the women's Final Four. Texas is lit right now. Texas is lit. Absolutely. Hart Foundation, absolutely, my man. Cease was absolutely dominant last night. Absolutely dominant. Lucky Lefty podcast. So, yesterday, or not today, I'm sorry. I totally messed that up. On today, quarterback coach Gino Giudugli was mic'd up. And let's check him out. We talked about the energy he brings. Let's see what Gino G brings to the Notre Dame practice field.
Bam. This is a juicy one. That's one like you look forward to doing. Like feel like you're doing something cool. Arm socks that you cut off.
Yeah, I just went in there and they cut them off for me.
That's the drip right now.
Yes. All senior year I wore some cutoffs.
They don't have cutoffs.
That's what I was feeling.
Oh, and Fuego. You got the fireball in NBA Jam.
Since you're mic'd up, should we have the Kentucky conversation or Parker's in the zone? So
Yeah. It's the Kentucky leadership meeting. What you got for me today, bro? You a Yankees guy or a Mets guy?
I'm a Yankees guy.
Opening day yesterday, they win?
I know.
They win?
Yeah.
Woke up today and felt that temperature like, man, this is a heat wave. Fish might start biting soon. Jeez, oh Pete. Last one. Here we go, jog it. Come on, Kenny, we're on air. All right, we're gonna bounce.
Under him, get under him.
Run. Job, Buck. All right, here we go, man. Let's finish up strong. I'm playing the field. Nice catch, Rico. Ooh, I'd send him. Yeah! Here. Got Yano on the over. Nice shot, Angelli. Atta baby, 1-8.
It was zone to hit Gino on the overs? No. It's all you, huh?
All right, good throw, dude. How we feel about that one? Pretty good? Job today.
Red Army on 2-1-2.
Red Army.
Yo, man, Red Army. That's what they call Gino Giudugli with his quarterbacks. Let me tell you something, man. That's something that was shown, I believe, from the practice on yesterday. But let me tell you, from the practices, the 3 practices we've watched, just his energy. I think the energy that he brings to the offensive side, along with the energy that Max Bullock has brought to the defensive side, as far as coaching, definitely offensively, he makes up for the energy that Harry Heastand brought to the offensive side of the ball that was missing with his departure. You talk about Gino Giudugli, man. It's interesting because LL question of the day, guys. The presence of Gino Giudugli helps out blank the most in the quarterback room. The presence of Gino Giudugli helps out blank the most in the quarterback room. I'm interested in seeing what you guys say. Who does it help out the most in the quarterback room, right? Sam Hartman, just some of the bullet points where he talked to the media today. He talked about the transition of being under center a lot more at Notre Dame, which leads me to believe that Jared Parker is going to be more multiple in formations than Tommy Rees was. Tommy Rees, the quarterback situation was what it was in Notre Dame, right? And Tommy Rees has to bear some of the blame for the quarterback position being what it was. Okay. Well, with that being said, Tommy Rees is just loved 12 personnel. He just flat out loved 12 personnel. That was probably his favorite personnel as a player. And gosh darn it, it's his favorite personnel as an offensive coordinator. I bet you if you watch Alabama games this year, you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel, and it might drive Nick Saban crazy. Actually, I hear Nick Saban is complaining about his offense early in spring camp, according to reports. So I don't know about that. You can't blame Brian Kelly for the quarterbacks. No, we're not going to do that. I give Brian Kelly all the blame he needs. Tommy Rees recruited the quarterbacks, and Tommy Rees was the quarterback coach. He wanted it that way. He didn't. They asked if he wanted a quarterback coach. He said, "No, I have it." He was responsible for the development of the quarterbacks. That was his responsibility. I will not lay that at the feet of Brian Kelly. I won't. It's a ton of things we can lay at the feet of Brian Kelly. Quarterback development, with Tommy Rees being here, is not one of them. Not at all. And we see the benefits easily with Jared Parker being elevated to offensive coordinator of how beneficial it is. Malik told you this all last season. There is something wrong. Quarterbacks need someone they can turn to every day, every moment of the day when they need answers, especially in practice. And when the offensive coordinator it has a responsibility of calling the next play, he cannot deal with the questions of the quarterbacks and cannot ultimately help them develop at the level they need to develop at. Point blank. And Malik was spot on. Spot on. So the hiring of Gino Giudugli has already given a lot of benefits to this Notre Dame offense, and easily with the quarterback room being the buzz of the spring practices already, along with the wide receivers, you're seeing it. You're seeing it. And I think the video we just showed, the energy he brings. Kenny Minchey, and I said this the first time I saw him throw, he's just natural. He is a natural thrower of the football. Getting the playbook and the cerebral part of the game, that's going to come. You need reps. He's another young man that's going to need reps. I know most Notre Dame fans feel like, whenever he touches the field, he should be Heisman ready. No, he's going to have to take his lumps, and he's going to need reps, and he's going to need a good team around him. You saw Steve Angelli right there make a fantastic throw. Fantastic throw, right? People forget that Steve Angelli is still academically a freshman. He's still in his academic freshman year. He's just been on campus for so long that it feels like he's a sophomore already, right? Right now, Kenny Minchey is probably eventually at some point going to be the third quarterback on the depth chart, but they have no intentions of rushing him. And there's no need to rush him. Let him develop at his own pace. But I love the way Gino Giudugli stays on top of these guys, right? Stays on top of Kenny Minchey. Won't let him be a freshman. Won't let him act like a freshman. Being a quarterback in Notre Dame comes with a certain level of responsibility from the time you set foot on that campus. It's the way you move. It's the way you act. And you're building character to be a captain. The quarterback at Notre Dame has to be a captain. I don't know about every other position, but at some point in your career, if you are a quarterback at Notre Dame, you have the expectations to be a leader and a captain of that team. And that is vitally important. And that's something that he's trying to instill in Kenny Minchey right now. So we're jogging to the next drill. We're not walking. Let's go, Kenny. Let's go. And you have to love it. You have to love it. The energy, and also you see, he just doesn't talk and build up rapport with the quarterbacks. He's talking to the running backs. He's talking to the wide receivers. It's the entire offense. He's going through the drills with the quarterbacks. He's running laps with them. He's in it with them, and that in itself is something that a lot of coaches around the country cannot do or are either not willing to do. So that's vitally important. We already know, and I said this, when I returned from the pro day, like, that dude, Sam Hartman, is different, right? You've heard me say it probably. This is probably the fifth or sixth time I've said it. He's absolutely different. Absolutely different. But Tyler Buchner, this is what I love, because I think Tyler Buchner and Sam Hartman benefit each other, right? So the LL question of the day was, who has helped the most about the presence of Gino Giudugli? Let's go to Pete McLaughlin. And I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Pete. Thank you for tapping in. Steve Angelli, in my opinion, does benefit, right? Steve Angelli was kind of the lost. A kid like Steve Angelli can get lost when you don't have a quarterback coach, because there's so much focus by the offensive coordinator on Drew Pine and Tyler Buchner, right? So who's staying late with you? Who are you talking with and watching film with through the week? Who? Right? So that's a great answer there, because Steve Angelli, in my opinion, is really benefiting from having someone that he can go talk to, right? Because Jared Parker probably will have more conversations with Sam Hartman and Tyler Buchner. And then it's going to be up to Gino to really carry the load when it comes to Steve Angelli and Kenny Minchey as far as that development. So that's Drunk Vigo says Buchner. Buchner, it's interesting because Buchner's relationship with Gino, per Gino Giudugli, comes from the fact that when he came over and finally got comfortable into the job, Gino talked about how important it was for him to get to know everything. And once he got to know everything, it was like, yo, the person that was most important to me was Tyler Buchner. He was the one that got me up to speed on everything. He was the one that was telling me about the checks and the different looks, which bodes well because that means Tyler has really matured and he knows those things and he can be trusted to talk about those things, which I think we saw bits and pieces of that in the Gator Bowl, right? We saw that improvement from Tyler Buchner. So if we can get rid of the mistakes, right? I think, and look, I, I want people to understand, man. The reason I stick with Tyler Buchner is because I understand repetition is vitally important in football, right? Repetition and experience. And from a repetition standpoint, Tyler Buchner's still a red shirt freshman. When you look at games played and snaps, he really hasn't seen a lot, and he's going to get better. And the fact that he got better from the last time we saw him getting injured against Marshall to the next time we saw him in the Gator Bowl against South Carolina, of course the mistakes were still there. I won't slide that under the rug and act like it didn't exist. It's a big problem, especially when you're giving points to the other team. That's a huge problem. You have to take care of that, young man, right? But I'm going to give him some grace. I'm going to give him some grace. And I'm going to at least let him get a full season of 12 games of reps. I need him to have at least 12 games of reps starting before I start harshly judging him on where he's at as a quarterback and what he's doing. I'm going to give him that grace. Now, you don't have to give him that grace if you've seen enough. That's fine. That's fine. But for me, I think I'm going to give him that grace. Sam Hartman is still looking to improve, and he's been a starter for 3 years. Gino talked about Sam Hartman when he met with the media. Let's hear it once again what Gino Giudugli said about the probable starting quarterback for Notre Dame.
Excited about it, and I think Sam is as well. And I think him coming into the situation he initially signed up for, and kind of the things that transpired throughout the first 2 months of that transition, were kind of tough on him. But I think in the little time that I've been here, we've made up a lot of ground, and Jared's done a nice job of kind of accommodating to that, and he's going to be just fine.
Yo, like he said today, Sam Hartman talking about how tough it is to transition from always taking snaps in the shotgun to have to go under center. It's a different look, right? It's a different view of the defense. You have to get used to calling the checks from there. So it's something that he's getting used to, but when it comes to slinging that rock, no problems from Sam at all. None. He gets it done. Absolutely. Right? Lucas Kirkwood, thank you for tapping in. TB will ball out in 24 this season, will be good for him. Plus, he knows better than anybody else. They're only one play away from come. Look, Tyler Buchner is going to play this year, right? And that's not me wishing ill will upon Sam Hartman, but the game is the game. At some point, Sam Hartman is going to get banged up. And I had this discussion, I think, with B. Drisk one day over the phone. I said, look, Marcus Freeman has to feel really comfortable if Sam Hartman injures himself, rolls an ankle. He feels no pressure to have to rush his starting quarterback back, right? You have to feel comfortable with Tyler Buchner being your backup. Notre Dame might have one of the best backup quarterbacks in the nation, right? So if Sam Hartman rolls his ankle and, it's a game in between a big game like a USC or something like that, no reason to rush Sam back. You roll Tyler Buchner out there and tell Tyler Buchner, go handle this. And you feel good about the situation. You feel absolutely great about the situation. So that's a great feeling. It's an absolutely great feeling for a head coach to have, right? Because Kirby Smart's about to go through something that he hasn't felt in 2 seasons, right? Now, he'll name a starter, and that starter needs reps. You just don't know until he gets into the game how this young man is going to be. And Kirby's going to have to either be patient or have a short leash because Kirby's still trying to win games and win national championships, right? J.J. McCarthy is set in stone in Michigan. Caleb Williams is set in stone at USC. Cade Klubnik is set in stone at Clemson. Drake May is set in stone at North Carolina. Riley Leonard is set in stone at Duke. Now, other than that, around the nation, It really is, a roulette of quarterbacks just to see who the starter is going to be, who's going to stick at these programs. Jay Daniels, of course, down at LSU, Jordan Travis at Florida State. You probably have about Michael Penix Jr. out in Washington. You have about 15 programs. I think Spencer Sanders along is in that quarterback battle, which is a mess, in my opinion, down at Ole Miss. For all of those guys down there. It is just really interesting to see how these quarterback situations are going to play out. Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. Leave us 5 stars. Leave your comments. We greatly appreciate it. Also, follow us on YouTube. Share, smash that like button for us. It helps with the views. And most of all, subscribe to the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We greatly appreciate you, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Don't forget, if you are in the South Bend area for the Blue and Gold game on that Friday, we will be doing a live show from the studio at the YMCA in St. Joseph's County. A 2-hour live show with special guests. We will have 2 young gentlemen, 2 kids from the community co-hosting with us that have interest in sports journalism and broadcasting. Lucky Lefty Podcast, giving back to the community. Then we're going to go back to the St. Joseph Food Pantry, and we'll return to the YMCA for our kick, punt, and pass competition with Holt's Heroes and Reggie Brooks. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Mac 10, our guy, thank you for the super chat. We greatly appreciate you. Thank you for that super sticker. We appreciate the support. If you are in the South Bend area on that Friday, tap in with us around noon. That's when everything starts. We'll be going from noon to about 6 in the evening. And then also, Malik and I are going to have a meet and greet. After we finish, we're going to have a happy hour meet and greet with Notre Dame fans to just come out and just kick it with us and enjoy. All right? Absolutely. Anthony O, that's what's up. Anthony O says he grew up in that YMCA. Well, we're going to be there, Anthony. We're going to be there. Feel free to come by, say hello, and check things out. We're in partnership with Holt's Heroes and also BNB and the South Bend YMCA. Lucas Kirkwood, I'm sure, is a great reason for Westbrook to go on the petty train, but it's so many things he's done this week. You have to be specific for me. I'll throw him on the petty train for you. Heart Foundation. I feel you, man. I feel you. So going back, we touched on what? Angelli and Buchner. As you heard in the clip we played with Gino Giudugli, he talked about this is before the storms are coming through on this Friday evening in Northwest Indiana and the Chicago area and across Illinois. It's supposed to be 60 degrees next week. Temperatures were going up. Gino Giudugli built his relationship fishing with Sam Hartman when he first got to Notre Dame, and he started talking about the fish biting because the temperature was going up. So I fully expect Gino Giudugli to be out on the banks sometime next week at one of the lakes in the South Bend area with Sam Hartman. But the benefit for Sam Hartman is just confidence within the system, right? Reassurance as a coach. This is what you get from Gino Giudugli for Sam Hartman. Now, Sam Hartman can sling the rock. He knows that. He knows that. He came out there and showed out in a stud t-shirt. A t-shirt that says stud on it with the sleeves cut off. Had his little biceps showing for all the pro scouts. Just showed out. 21 for 21. Nothing hit the ground. He knows he's the dude. That's why he came to Notre Dame. He fully understands that it's 3 big games that he was brought here to win. And the talent on the team can take care of the rest of the schedule and help and assist in taking victory home against Clemson, Ohio State, and USC. But he understands. He understands that. But Gino Giudugli and his relationship is almost a calming relationship, right? Because I don't think Sam Hartman really truly understands, and he won't understand until he gets into the midst of it. Being the quarterback at Notre Dame, walking into that big game back at Notre Dame. It happened Tyler Buchner's first start ever as a quarterback in Notre Dame on the road. It's a tough way to start your career as a starter. Sam Hartman gets an opportunity to feel what that's like, but he'll get to feel it in the confines of Notre Dame Stadium, which is a little bit different than the horseshoe. And he'll get to feel it with more weapons, different mentality. Jared Parker talked about the air raid, and players have talked about the air raid, tight end. And I mentioned it on this show that, and I joked with Left, like, man, you know what? Notre Dame first play might come out 3-4 wide because that's what we've been seeing in drills. And that's what they've been working on. And specifically, I think they really have to take more reps that way because of the lack of bodies at tight end. They're sitting at like, what, 4? And that's including David Sherwood, who's really more like a H-back than a true tight end. And they don't get the bodies back until fall camp. So with that being said, they have the bodies in the wide receiver room to go 3 deep across the board, even when they go 3 wide. So why not use it? Why not allow your freshman wide receivers to get the most reps they can, to be ready, to go out and ball, especially when fall camp hits? We've seen Braylon James catching touchdowns, right? You've seen those highlights. You've seen Kenny Minchey to Rico Flores in the corner of the end zone, right? You saw that. In the clip we played today, you saw Kenny Minchey back shoulder to Rico Flores. Rico Flores making an incredible catch. You guys saw that, right? You saw that. We've seen James Greathouse making all types of acrobatic catches and drills and in highlights. We've seen it. The talent is there. Yes, the wide receiver room should be extremely productive this year. Should be extremely productive. And Sam Hartman, without question, is going to bring the best out of that wide receiver room. I fully believe that. But I think the person that benefits the most, and this is why I saved this individual for last. And I'm not saying you guys are wrong for your opinions. For those of you that said Tyler Buchner, for those of you that said Steve Angelli, and for those of you that might have mentioned Sam Hartman. But the young man that benefits the most, in my opinion, is Kenny Minchey. If you are an elite program, if you are a top 5 program, which we argued and debated early in the week on this podcast, if you're an elite college football program, the freshman quarterbacks, especially if they enroll early, that come into your program should be ready to walk out onto the field and start a game and be competitive by the end of their freshman year. That's if proper development is taking place. I didn't say go out and throw for 300 yards. I didn't say go out and carry today. I said they should be able to go out and operate in the confines of the playbook, be efficient, and be able to make a few plays on the college football level, Power 5 level. That's the development that takes place at elite programs. That's how a kid like Tua walks into the middle of a title game as a freshman and pulls out a victory against Georgia. Because at elite programs, freshman quarterbacks are ready to play. Bryce Young, at the end of his freshman year, looking at Mac Jones, was ready to play and take snaps. I'm not saying he was ready to light it up and throw for 300 yards, but he was ready to start a college football game. So with that being said, for Notre Dame to take the next step into that elite realm of college football programs, your quarterback development must take a couple of steps forward. Kenny Minchey has to be ready and good enough to start a college football game by November. He should be good enough. Doesn't mean he's going to start or play. He should have a grasp of the playbook. He should know the checks. We all know he's a natural thrower of the football. He's shown accuracy. He's shown touch. He's shown the ability to throw the back shoulder throws. All of the special things that come with being a really good quarterback, the things that you really can't measure, the intangibles, Kenny Minchey has that and then some. He really and truly does, including his demeanor, which is cool, just cool, under pressure. Now, Gino Giudugli really truly gets his first piece of clay, right? Because Steve Angelli has been touched by Tommy Rees and the previous staff. Kenny Minchey belongs to Gino Giudugli. And for that, I think the hiring of Gino Giudugli is most beneficial to Kenny Minchey than any other quarterback in that room. All right? That's just my opinion. Cool Kenny is absolutely correct. All right. So that's Gino Giudugli and his impact on each and every quarterback in the quarterback room. When we come back, it's time for your questions, LL Nation. Hit me up with anything. What do you want me to watch and look for at the full practice tomorrow? What do you want me? Tell me. This is great. I'm glad I just thought about this. When I come on air tomorrow, tell me the one thing that you want to hear me say. That's great. It's a great question, LL Nation. As I return from practice tomorrow and we sign on, what's the one thing you want Shaun Davis and Malik Zaire to look into this camera and say about the Notre Dame football team on tomorrow? Not just the position, but give me a sentence. Give me a headline that you will want to hear from us tomorrow after we get an opportunity to watch the first full practice of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know we spin it different. All right, we're back. I'm going to put the link to the show in the chat in about 15 minutes. But right now, we want to get to some of your comments and questions. Once again, we gave the question before we went to break right quick. And the question was, when we come back tomorrow with our practice report, tell me the one thing that you want to hear from us about Notre Dame and their spring practice. All right. Let's see. Luke Kirkwood, as always, thank you for tapping in, Luke. I want to know if you think Collie breaking out this year. I've been waiting for him, man. He just looks like an All-American linebacker. Well, Prince Collie, matter of fact, Luke, just for you, let's go to Prince Collie, who spoke to the media and talked about the relationship and the expectations he has coming into the season.
We're building on it. Now I'm expected to know a little more, do a little more, things like that. So we're growing both of us.
Being an experienced guy in that room now, how has that benefited you along with the younger guys?
Yeah, so I've been here for a few years, and now I'm able to help the young guys understand the playbook. So I'm able to teach it, and that gives me a better understanding. So it's really beneficial for both of us.
How beneficial is it just that the playbook's the same for you 2 years in a row?
Absolutely, it hasn't changed. That's huge. You get comfortable with it. You get comfortable making checks and things like that, and doing the things you're expected to do. So you just get comfortable.
And something he said there at the end that's very important, right? Because when you have a coach come in, he's a new coach. He sets a new expectations that probably were a little bit different than the previous defensive coordinator, which happens to be your head coach, by the way. But Marcus Freeman said he gave carte blanche to Al Golden to run his defense when he became the defensive coordinator. New set of expectations, new set of possibly responsibilities. And Prince Collie fully expects, based upon what was said there by him, Luke, to be better just from knowing the playbook and nothing changing. So obviously there was a change from playbook to playbook with Al Golden coming in. More expectations, more talk about communication, more talk about checks, complexities of the defense. And could that be too much? We kind of talked about that on yesterday's podcast. How much is too much? Yes, we know the young men in Notre Dame are extremely intelligent, but how much is too much when it comes to, allowing players to play fast and just have a foundation of what to do on defense? So it should be pretty interesting to see what they do with Prince Collie. Right now, he's at the wheel, and I think him, along with Nolan Ziegler, will probably be the top two guys at will. I'm still confused about Marist and how Marist Leofau is going to be used. I really, truly am, guys. I don't know. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason. He really hasn't come out with the first group in drills, but he's been there. I know they still worry about him from an injury standpoint, but still in all, and that's going to be one of the most closely watched position groups as far as, when they finally list the rotation, right? It's going to be interesting because I expect Kaiser to be a co-starter. I think that's what you're going to have. You're going to have co-starters. I think Kaiser will be a co-starter with Jalen Sneed at Rover. I think you'll have Collie, Ziegler, and Leofau probably listed as co-starters or on the depth chart. JD Bertrand will be the starter in the middle, and Nolan Ziegler will be his backup in the middle. And then you have look, let me tell you something. Jay Nosberry and Drake Bowen are natural linebackers. I'm telling you this right now. Natural downhill linebackers. They have a lot to learn. And Max Bullock has been on their tails. I mean, he has been on their tails in practices. But the freshman linebackers are more athletic, and they are natural at that position. So natural. So natural. I'm talking about hitting creases, getting small, getting through, tackles for losses, making plays, being disruptive. They are so natural at the position. They really are. So I hope that makes you excited, because B. Driss was talking today about one of those guys possibly seeing the field at some point down the line later in the season, maybe, second half or something like that in the game. They are that good, that talented from an athletic standpoint. They are really that talented. Anybody that told you Drake Bowen was slow, they're out of their minds. They're out of their minds. Marcel, what's up, brother? Said Chris Tyree really would be the truth at slot and would be a problem. We might see that tomorrow. In drills, he seems very quick, especially when he's running slant routes, under routes, drags, those type of routes. You get him ball on the run, he could be a problem. Option routes, where he gets an opportunity to do a little shake, he could be a problem. We might be saying that tomorrow, Marcel. We might be saying that. Vanilla Chill, thank you for tapping in. I want to hear that Hartman to Tobias hookup would be special and dangerous. Well, heck, let me tell you, if it's one thing ND Media has been showing you, it's the fact that Tobias Merriweather is a problem. I think you've seen 4 to 5 separate occasions where Tobias Merriweather has called a touchdown on clips, individual clips from ND Media. They have done, but the thing is, it just hasn't been from Sam Hartman. I've seen one for Sam Hartman. I've seen one for Steve Angelli. I don't know if I've seen one from Tyler Buchner yet. I have to go back and watch. But I've definitely seen a couple from Sam Hartman and one from Steve Angelli. He's definitely creating a buzz. So they've done a good job to this point, setting that buzz up. And I fully expect to see it continue tomorrow at the full practice, Vanilla Chill. My guy, what's up? What's up, Jaguar? My guy, NW Jr. Onye is as good as thus far advertised. We have a potential upgrade on the D line. Let me tell you something, man. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it one more time. Okay? Notre Dame fans, relax. 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 Okay? And if you need to hear it, don't hear it from us, because we'll tell you what we see tomorrow. But this is Prince Collie. Who on the D line has impressed you, Prince Collie?
In front of you on the defensive line so far?
Defensive line? I'm kind of biased. Jason Anye, he's really stood out to me. They just can't block him. That's really it. That's really it. So.
Prince Collie said they can't block him. They haven't blocked him in practice. So I expect to see the same thing tomorrow. So I'm sure I'm going to come back tomorrow, and I'm going to look in this camera, and I'm like, well, 47's a dude. They weren't playing. Notre Dame fans, pray for his health. That's it. Pray he stays healthy and makes it to the season through fall camp, because we got a dude up front. And it was this podcast that told you last year when we watched practices that Jason Onye was flashing. We told you that. All we needed. Realize Jason Onye didn't start playing football until his senior year in high school. So last year when we told you this kid was just learning the game, but he's flashing, he has a chance to be really good. And now when you hear his teammates saying they can't block him, nobody can block him, I'll be shocked. And I wouldn't be shocked to show up back tomorrow and say the exact same thing. But let me tell you this. Once again, all of this worry about the defensive line, Notre Dame lost a second-round pick, an undrafted free agent, and another guy that might go in the 7th round or go undrafted. That's what you lost. So all this fret over what we lost, you didn't lose that much athletic talent on the defensive line. You want me to pull up the numbers from the combine to prove it? Because two of the guys ran a 5 in the 40. 5. I'll go through it again. We lost a second-round pick who's special. He's special. Do you have someone as special? No. Do you have a collective on the outside that can give you the production that he had last year? Maybe. We'll have to see. But what you lost on the interior, you ain't lose that much. I'm not crying over 57. Not crying at all. Riley Mills, Howard Cross, Gabriel Rubio, Jason Onye. I'm good with that. I'm good. That's more athletic than what we had. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Lou Holtz, Thunder and Bolts. He wants to hear the defensive line has a chip on their shoulders and look poised to exceed expectations in 2023. All right. I'll keep that one in the back pocket. I might step out on that limb tomorrow. I might do that. I might do that. Let's see. Unigel. I want you to say this is a top 5 team They have the personnel in place. Okay. I have to really think about it, right? Because if I think about that right now, Unit Joe, I will put, and this is just based upon, I have to include last year, even though last year doesn't matter, right? But you look at last year and what teams returned from last year, right? So I look at Michigan, I look at an Ohio State, I look at a Georgia, I look at an Alabama. Oh, to be fair, and I look at a USC. To be fair, so yes, it might be a stretch for me to say top five right now. I would have to see more from the front seven tomorrow. I would have to come away thoroughly impressed from the fronts with that front seven to come on this show tomorrow and say they're a top five team. Right? For me, it's the defense right now. Now that I will agree. It's the defense. The defense will determine whether or not this is a top five team. As I sit here today, I'm comfortable with that. And I'm comfortable with saying the front seven on that defense will determine that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that. See if there's anything else. Okay, the Hart Foundation says if Jay Price is suiting up, I want to hear that he might be the next explosive player to blow up like Rocket did his first year and make an instant impact on offense, rushing, end arounds, receiving, etc. on special teams. Okay. I don't look, the running back room, because I don't know if anyone has said this, the running back room has been banged up. If there was one room that's been banged up in spring practice, it's been the running back room. Logan Diggs has been banged up. I think Aldrich Estime has pretty much made every practice. Javon Payne has made every practice. Logan Diggs has been banged up. They're taking their time with Jadarian Price. He's running through drills. We have not seen scrimmages. Remember that. So he might have participated in scrimmages to a certain degree. We have not seen that. We get an opportunity to see that tomorrow. But we have not seen that to this point. So I will definitely let you know where he sits to we'll let you know where he sits as far as things. We'll let you know. But that's interesting. That's very interesting because he is a key, in my opinion. He's definitely a key, right? Especially if you're going to be using Tyree with the wide receivers. If you can add him into the mix in that backfield and be that third back, even with Jeremiah Love coming in, man, you're talking about this offense. Lilo Galante, I don't think I'm going to say we had this debate on this discussion today. And B. Driss made an interesting point. The competition in St. Louis was really good, but Tyson Ford played on the outside at big end. And Brian stated the case that Tyson Ford Tyson Ford is a freshman, man. See, this is what is so unfair at times. I don't think people really know what it takes to be a top-notch football player, especially on the defensive line. Like Will Anderson, popped. It took him 2 years to really pop at Alabama. 2 years of development. He's a freshman. He's an academic freshman. He is not a sophomore yet. And already you want to throw around the word bust? Like, what are you talking about? I literally did a practice report last year where he got his tail whooped, got snatched off the field, coached up by Al Washington, went back in the very next play and collapsed the pocket. So I don't unless you have somebody inside practices that's telling you he's not developing. Once again, stop expecting people to be superstars and they've been in the system 1 year. Like what? He's been in the system 1 year. He played on the outside. He's been asked to move inside, which means he's been asked to pick up weight, get stronger, and learn how to play a different position. It's not like he's a running back, you hand him the ball, and you just unnaturally run. Or he's a wide receiver, hey, go run the routes, catch the ball. That's not what was asked of the young man. He was a defensive end that was asked to come in, pick up weight, play inside. So when he was starting to learn the inside game, he was undersized. Now he's getting to the point where, from a weight standpoint, he can hold up physically. And as Brian Driscoll said, he was used to being the stronger individual on the outside. Now that he's on the inside, now he has to learn all new technique. It's a different beast on the inside. It just is. And he's still an academic freshman. That's what I want people to understand. He's still an academic freshman. Most of the time, the light goes off when kids hit their sophomore year. From fall camp to the season. Somewhere in there, the light goes off. You have to give these kids time. That's why people that just want to throw Tyler Buchner away, the kid has a freshman amount of reps at quarterback. Like he just does. And he's going to make mistakes. He's made his mistakes. And eventually those mistakes should leave him as he matures, right? You just have to stick with these kids, man. You really do. And it's hard sometimes as a fan base, but you just have to learn to stick with kids. You know, everybody can't come in and just be a Harold Perkins, right? And by the way, Harold Perkins was asked to do one thing. He wasn't thrown in at middle linebacker and given the responsibility of calling checks and no. Go to the outside, rush the passer. That's what we want you to do. And he was able to athletically be successful at it. So, uh, you know, yeah, I look. That's one position I would never ever want to play. Oh, this is a great question. Oh man, if I say this tomorrow, we might be in trouble. Honestly, what the heck is going on at kicker? I don't know. By the way, the kickers and Coach Biaggi will be meeting with the media tomorrow. So we'll hear from the kickers and we'll see tomorrow. From what I've seen in practices, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know who the place kicker is going to be. I really don't. I really don't. And that's my honest answer. I really don't. That could be a question going all the way up until the day before the first game against Navy. I just really don't know who's going to be that guy, especially the way Blake Group performed on the pro. Blake Group was absolutely a monster at the pro day. Monster. Hitting from like 61, just missing from 65, booming the ball into the end zone and kickoffs. Blake Group definitely has a chance to sneak onto a roster in the NFL with the show he put on at Notre Dame for the pro day. Man. Oh man, Lilo, don't even bring up the no, we cannot have a Cody Parkey era at Notre Dame. No, you cannot. Too many important close games coming up. We cannot have that. We cannot have that, my friend. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Man, so I told you guys I would give opportunity to a couple of people to jump on in. And it's Friday, so it's for the culture. So go ahead. It's right there in the chat. If you want to jump in, say something before we get ready to get out of here. Someone said my White Sox were up 1-0. Happy about that. That means Lance Lynn is doing okay. Let's see, any other headlines did I miss? Oh, okay. Joe said he wants me to say I saw more than 5 future first round picks. 5 future first round picks. 1, 2, 3. I know for sure that I can say 3 tomorrow. Well, I can say based upon the practices that I've seen thus far, I've already seen 3. 4. I can stretch it to 4. I might be able to say that, Joe. I might be able to say that. I might be able to say that. Yeah. Cody Parkey era could be interesting. So as I said before, defense will be the star attraction tomorrow, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to break it down like this so you know. Come back, we're doing a practice report, and we're going to do the first hour on the offense. We're going to do the second hour on the defense. And then from there, we're going to do a show strictly about Gino Giudugli and the quarterbacks and what they had to say to the media. So you're probably going to get close to 2 to 2.5 hours of Lucky Lefty sometime tomorrow. All right. And don't forget the best of Lucky Lefty dropping at 9 a.m. Apple Podcasts and Spotify, CFB Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown every Sunday morning. It's the best of our previous interviews, best of Lucky Lefty, each and every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Irish Chi-Town says, Shaun, I want to hear you say the wideout caught everything Hartman threw. Man, if I say that, then that means the defensive backs didn't have a good day. I don't know if I want to say the wide receivers caught everything Hartman threw, man. I don't know. Hey Juan, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, SD? How's it going, brother?
Man, I'm blessed. It's good to see you. What's up? What's on your mind?
Great to see you as well. Thank you for having me. Yo, SD, before I get to it, can I just have somebody give you a shout out? Every time I'm on, they never get to say what's up and they get mad at me. So I just want Layla and Emilio to say what's up to LL Nation.
Hey guys.
They loyal followers as well. They just here kicking it with me, listening to you, brother.
Hey man, we appreciate them. Absolutely.
Thank you. But yeah, man. I just want to talk a little Bears football. You know.
Okay. What's on your mind? What do you mean? It seems like they're moving away from Jalen Carter at 9. Who do you think they're going to take?
Man, I don't know. For some reason, I think if Paris isn't there or Broderick Thomas is not there, I hope he drops back, trades the pick and drops back.
Picks up some more draft equity.
Yeah, but just not too far back where he could still maybe pick somebody up at 19, 18, something like that, 17. Yeah. And who I would like, if we can't get Paris Johnson or my guy.
The kid from Georgia, right?
Yeah, from Georgia. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe Njigba's there. You know, I would like Jackson Smith and Njigba, or maybe a D lineman that's out there, like what's the kid from Iowa?
Yeah,
I forget his name. Vanessa, I think, something like that.
Van Ness.
Yeah,
Van Ness, solid. He's a solid defensive lineman. He definitely would fit into the Midwest mentality of a Bears defensive lineman. He definitely would fit in that 3-4 as well with the cover 2 in the back. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba, especially if they move back and pick up. If they're able to pick up another first round pick and end up with 2 first round picks,
yes,
there still are some offensive linemen at the end of the first round that they can get. And they seem to have confidence in their left tackle, their young left tackle. That was a rookie last year. They think he's going to develop and get better. So maybe they leave him at left tackle and then get a right tackle.
Right.
But they've built up through free agency. They've kind of solved the depth on the inside at the guard situation.
Yeah, and Davis. I like Davis.
Yeah, and they're moving Cody Whitehair, if I'm not mistaken, back to center. So, we'll see. I think Ryan Poles is being very shrewd. He's being very shrewd. But I want Big Paris. If Paris is there
man,
at 9.
That's my dream, man.
Yeah.
Every time they do a mock draft, when I'm watching, Bears pods and all that, I see he's gone by then,
Yeah.
He's gone by 9.
He's gone by 9. Yeah.
Everyone,
but man, I would love, bring that big fella to Chicago and let him protect Justin Fields.
Man, for years, man. That's our left tackle. That's our left tackle for years, brother.
Absolutely. Hey, tell the kids I said thank you. Hello. You guys have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you tomorrow, man. We'll be back on tomorrow.
Yes. God bless, man. I
God
appreciate
bless,
you.
Juan.
Thank you, SD.
Absolutely. That's our guy, Juan, as always, tapping in with us. And, it is absolutely amazing. LL Nation, this is the thing. Like, you guys have allowed us to bless our own lives and be a blessing to you guys to talk Notre Dame. And now we're going to have the opportunity to bless the South Bend community and the Notre Dame family in conjunction with Host Heroes. And man, honestly, when we started this just a little bit under 2 years ago, if I had known that this is where we were going to sit on March 31st, 2023, I can't tell you that I'm anything but thankful and grateful for where we sit today as a podcast and what we're able to do on a daily basis. And we're here to serve the Notre Dame fan base and just spin it different. That's all. We said we didn't want to be like anybody else covering Notre Dame, and we were comfortable in our own skin doing it the way we do it. And we wanted to make Notre Dame broadcasting or podcasting totally different than it's ever been. And hopefully we've done that in a way that's pleasing to LL Nation and Notre Dame fans all across the world. We absolutely appreciate you. So you guys pray for me tomorrow, especially if those storms are still going early in the morning. As I wake up, I'll be leaving Chicago around 8 o'clock and getting out of here. Skaronski is an option for the Bears. All right. I'm going to let you guys go right now, man. Have a fantastic Friday. No petty train. We'll get to the petty train tomorrow when Left is back in the building. We appreciate you. Have a great evening. But most of all, you got to make sure that you spin it different.